dear students, this is Raksha Shetty and you're watching Edubassa, your homely learning channel. So in the last video, we learned about the introduction part of control and coordination, which included the structure of neuron, the parts, and how the nerve impulse passes through the neuron, the reflex action as well as reflex arc. So today in this video, we are going to learn about the main important topic for your 10th examination, which is human brain. Very important. Okay. So without further ado, let's get into the next slide. So these are the contents we are going to concentrate today. The introduction part of it, the main parts of brain, the cranium and muscle cells. Introduction part, center of coordination of all body activities. So the brain is the main center for the coordination of all of the body activities. All the activities of the body is controlled and coordinated by the main boss, which is nothing but the brain. So it involves in the thinking purpose, it involves in the memory, it involves in the emotions, it involves in the voluntary actions. So voluntary actions is nothing but doing it knowingly, doing it willingly. For example, if your teacher tells you to write something, so you think and you write, isn't it? You think and you act. So that is voluntary actions. So there are two nervous systems, central nervous system as well as peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system includes the brain and spinal cord, whereas the peripheral nervous system includes the nerves, okay, which we have already discussed in the last video. So you can see over here, this is peripheral nervous system from the different parts of the body. This peripheral nervous system, which includes the nerves, arises. So this nerves will be connected to the spinal cord as well as to the brain. The nerve which is connected to the spinal cord is called as spinal nerve, and the nerve which is connected to the brain is called as cranial nerve. You can see over here, this one is called as spinal nerve and this is called as cranial nerves. You can see over here this yellowish part. So this is the nerves connected to that of the brain called as cranial nerve. Okay, so it will receive the information, it will integrate the information, in the sense it will understand the information and it will respond, it will make the decision accordingly. So that is basically the introduction part of the brain. What is the work of the brain you have learned. Now, so these are the three main parts of the brain, which is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So we are going to learn one by one. So this is the structure of the brain, very important, very important. You can see the four parts. The front part of the brain is called as forebrain, and the middle part is called as midbrain, and the behind part is called as hindbrain. Okay, so talking about the forebrain includes a part called as cerebrum, which is the most the longest part of the brain, because obviously brain is used for thinking, isn't it? So the longest part of the brain is cerebrum. So that helps for the thinking purpose as well as for the decision making, isn't it? It will take up the old information, it will take up the new information, and they will mix it up together, and it will give rise to it will understand the particular situation, and it will give the solution accordingly. For example, just imagine you can hear in the sense you can sense the LPG gas. So while you can sense the LPG gas, you already know how the LPG gas smells like, because you do have the old information. You will take up the new information, you will mix both of them together, and then after mixing you will understand what is going on. Then you will make the decision of what, switching off the gas, isn't it? So that is done by the cerebrum part of it. You can see one more part of the forebrain, that is hypothalamus. So what is the function of the hypothalamus? Is nothing but it controls if you are hungry, or if you are feeling sleepy, or if your tummy is fullness. So all this is controlled by the hypothalamus part of it. So it is a main thinking part. It will take up the sensory impulses from the receptors. We have already learnt in the previous chapter. From the receptors are present in the different sense organs. From the different sense organs, the information, the nerve impulses come, and that is taken up by the forebrain part of the brain, and it will think and it will act accordingly. There are specialized areas for hearing, for the smell as well as sight in the case of the forebrain. Cerebrum is the largest part. It will control the mental abilities, the reasoning, the emotions as well as the voluntary actions. So we have already learned the hunger, fullness as well as sleepiness is controlled by the hypothalamus part of the forebrain. Yes. So next is the midbrain. So the midbrain controls certain involuntary actions. For example, the pupil size. The pupil size. Involuntary actions, in the sense it is ulta to that of the voluntary actions. Contrary to that of the voluntary actions. What is involuntary actions? You do not think before acting. That is involuntary actions. Okay. So suddenly acting without thinking. For example, pupil size. For example, blood pressure, salivation, vomiting. That is not controlled by you, isn't it? So that is what involuntary actions. So the certain involuntary actions are controlled by that of the midbrain, which includes the size of the pupil. And the main function of the hindbrain is to control this blood pressure, salivation, as well as vomiting. The information is processed about these things in the hindbrain, so it works with the hindbrain for this purpose as well. Okay. Next is about the hindbrain. So hindbrain includes three main parts. One is medulla, one more is cerebellum, and one more is pons. The three main parts of the hindbrain. So medulla controls the involuntary actions like blood pressure, salivation, vomiting, digestion, what else? Heartbeat, yes, heartbeat. And any other example, students? Yes, very good. Breathing. Yes, breathing as well. Okay, so the salivation, vomiting, digestion, breathing, heartbeat, which cannot be controlled, isn't it? Which cannot be thought and be controlled. So these are the involuntary actions being controlled by the medulla. Then cerebellum. Cerebellum, it is the precision of the voluntary actions, posture, as well as the balance. So the cerebellum part mainly what controls the posture and balance. Just imagine you just dropped your pen. So what happens? You will bend and you will pick up the pen, isn't it? So that balancing, or if you're sitting, you have to sit properly. That balancing, if you're moving in a straight line, you have to move in a straight line. You cannot move like however you want. That posture, that balancing, if you have to you have to move in a cycle, you have to balance a cycle, if you have to balance the bike, so that is all done by which part of the brain? The cerebellum part of the brain, which is present where? In the hindbrain. So next, one more part is pons, which coordinates the signals between the brain regions. Whatever the brain regions are giving the signals, it will coordinate it. Which one? The pons. So this is the part of the hindbrain. I will quickly show you where these regions are present. So this is cerebrum, the forebrain part, hypothalamus, forebrain part. You can see midbrain is here and the hindbrain, pons is here, the medulla is here, and the cerebellum is here. So these are the parts. Okay, yes. And how are these tissues protected? So you can see in the picture, there is a part called as cranium or the skull here. What it does is nothing but it basically protects the brain. So you know the brain. So brain is very important for us, isn't it? Without brain, what happens? The information cannot be sent. So the brain is important. So if the brain is important, that must be protected, isn't it? That must not get damaged. That must be protected. So that is protected by a part called as cranium. This is the skull part of it, cranium part of it. Now in between the cranium there is a liquid present. That liquid is called as cerebrospinal fluid. What do we call it as? Cerebrospinal fluid. What this cerebrospinal fluid does is nothing but it acts as a cushion. For example, just imagine if you are sitting in a one hard chair, what you will feel? You will feel hurt, isn't it? Your backbone will be feeling hurt. You will be feeling the pain. But if you keep a pillow and sit above it, or if you keep a cushion and sit above it, how you will be feeling? You will be feeling like, oh my god, very comfortable, isn't it? The same way, the cerebrospinal fluid basically protects your brain. It protects your brain just like a cushion. Clear? Okay, so yeah, that is it. And you can see over here the spinal cord is present, isn't it? The spinal cord is also important for the reflex action, isn't it? So how it protects? It protects by, there is a refill-like structure, that is nothing but the vertebral column will be present. The vertebral column or the vertebral column, or once again the vertebral column, or the bone, we simply call it as bone, that will be present in order to protect the spinal cord. So that is about how it is going to protect. So there is a bony box called as skull is present, and a fluid is present which is cerebrospinal fluid, which protects from the shock absorption or protects from the injury. And the spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column or the backbone. Now last part, how the nervous tissue causes the action is nothing but, see, the muscles, I mean, you know how the information is passed to the nervous tissue and all of that, you know. Now, how the action is being caused is nothing but obviously if the effector is the muscles. So what happens? The muscle cells will be present. Just imagine this is muscle and this is the cells of the muscle. So the nerve impulse will be there. This muscle cells will be having a special type of proteins. They will be having a special type of proteins. Now the nerve impulse is taken as soon as the nerve impulse reaches to these muscle cells. These proteins will change their arrangement. They will change their shape. Okay, so what shape they will be changing is nothing but it will becomes very shorter. It will become shorter as soon as the the muscle cells become shorter. The entire muscle gets contracted. Entire muscles gets contracted, and hence the movement is going to take place. Understood? That is how the nerve tissue causes the action. This is nerve impulse. As soon as the nerve impulse is received, the proteins will change their shape of the muscle cells to, basically shortens the shape. As they are going to shorten, the entire muscle is going to contract. So that is how the movement is going to take place. I hope it is clear. Yes, that is about today's video. So thank you. So I have added a code here. So just see it, which says that your brain is your greatest power, and kindly use it well. That's it for today, and let's meet again in the next video. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, keep watching, keep learning, and main importantly, students, enjoy while learning. See you. Bye bye.